scholars, teachers and trainers, professionals, listeners and learners, those who are listening from the field of science, arts, commerce and engineering, the most honorable President Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, respected Chief Ministers of the state, ministers and doctors, honorable advocates, advertisers, administrators and advisors, reverend fathers and mothers of affectionate sons and daughters, dear friends, you are listening and watching. I, Dr. RKM from USA, heartily, cordially welcome all of you. Your presence is praiseworthy, admirable and appreciable, as you are present not only physically but also mentally for listening every word of science to spirituality, language to literature. Dear friends, you know that our Indian land is the land of forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, free messenger speakers, those who came time to time on this earth. Their aim was to rejuvenate, recreate and reoperate our society by their thoughts and ideas. Dear friends, in the whole world, it is only the Indian land which is known as the land of diversities, adversities, varieties. But out of these, one unique feature of our nation is unity, equality and oneness. Because this human body, which is made by 5 elements, air, fire, soil, sky and water. Everyone who is living in India and abroad, they know this is the truth of our soul, of our spirit. And this is the common teaching of our all holy religions. Dear friends, Swami Vivekananda, who does not know about this unique feature of the nation, who brought revolutionary change throughout the world, it is really remarkable, outstanding for the youth of our Indian motherland, for the recreation, reoperation and regeneration of our nation. It is very necessary to repeat the history of our greatest social reformer who
स्वागत है आपका के जॉय की दुनिया में। The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Dear friends, you know that our old holy religions of this holy land, that was written by the holy persons of this holy land, they were really great, outstanding and amazing personalities of this world. They were multidimensional, multi-sided and multifaceted personalities. Words fall short in praise of such personalities. By their multi-task, by their multi-actions, they brought revolutionary and visionary change by being selfless. This was the great message which was given by Swami Vivekananda when Swamiji went to the USA In 1893, what a purity of thought he expressed from the Indian land, my brothers and sisters of the America. These were the two words, but the purity of the words, that is unfathomable, that cannot be counted. Really, it is countless. Because of the depth and height of his mind, depth of the heart and height of his mind was really uncounted by the common man of the world, even by the dignitaries, philosophers, scientists, doctors, those who were present in that religious conference. Because Swamiji's aim was to spread out the humanity throughout the world on the behalf of this Indian culture. So dear friends, you know this is the greatest truth of this social reformist, who left no stone unturned for searching the truth behind the actions. Dear friends, as he invented the theory of success means to be continued, unrelenting, unceasing and unstopping. Whatsoever you are doing, you are to be continued. You are to go on your path without taking rest. Dear friends, as our doctors know that our heart beats 72 times in 1 minute, a doctor can guess, a doctor can measure the heartbeat. But the ideas, speed of ideas, thoughts of the politicians are uncounted and numberless. Dear friends, if we talk about the common man, then it cannot be counted by any person easily. So how a man can count the thoughts and ideas of our saints, philosophers, free thinkers, forefathers, foretellers, forecasters, those who came on this earth just for the welfare of humanity. And this Indian land respected, welcomed all kinds of cultures, languages of the world. Time to time, many attackers came on this land for disturbing the peace and prosperity of our nation. But it is the greatness of our nation that our nation remain the great symbol of peace throughout the world. Our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, whose role model is Swami Vivekananda, he predicted and addressed the appeal to the worldly people for maintaining the spiritual standards, spiritual values of our nation throughout the world. Whether our nation is a developing nation, but it has the capacity to address the developed nations of the world like the USA and USSR. Dear friends, today our modern age, present age is greatly required. The reformation, regeneration, reoperation, refoundation of our youth. Dear friends, there is a great opportunities and golden opportunities by spending in time sports. India is also the great nation of sports. For the worldly people, in the different games, we have been the inventors and innovators. Time to time, because of its Ayurveda, naturopathy, physiotherapy, in the different streams of treatments, also we have provided the ways to the worldly people. So this is also the greatness and proud of our Indian motherland. Dear friends, for becoming a true nationalistic and patriotic person of this world, a man should really recreate and regenerate, reoperate for the nation. As Swami Vivekananda says, if unrelentingly and unceasingly our common man will do his actions, then definitely our India will recreate and regenerate one day. All the natural calamities, devastations, disasters that come time to time on this land for disturbing the humanity, then it is only the Indian motherland that can face, that can solve the whole problems. So this is really the inherent talent, manner, styles of our Indian youth. Dear friends, today our common children, common child of our India is able to perform better, nicer, finer for the greatness of our society and nation. No doubt, we are fully inspired and motivated and praised by our old age people, by our forefathers, those who came first on this earth. But what is our role on this earth? That we are to determine, that we are to define, we are to explain, we are to unfold our hidden talent through the sports. At the central level, through PMKVY, numberless programs were started for improving the talents of our youth. Later on, by MMKVY, it was started in Rajasthan for improving the talent of our youth by connecting them with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social media. No doubt our every citizen, common man of village has become the vibrant and activated in all type of applications and implementations of the different information technologies in his daily routine life. But the great requirement is to recreate our nation, to recreate our traditions, rituals, and our past about which Swami Vivekananda appealed to the worldly people by saying, return to the Vedas. Not only these words were used by his physical body, but it was the voice and word of his soul itself. Dear friends, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who advocated to the worldly people, our present lies in the past. Geographically, nationally, our nation is great because of its adversities and diversities. No doubt it is only the land of India which has a great representation of the different religions, cultures, languages. But its unique feature is oneness and equality. That is greatly praised, appreciated and admired by the worldly people. Swami Vivekananda, who advocated for the purity of their character. If our youth, our Indian people will be the great, superb, sublime in their character, then definitely they will know the value of sports. The true value of sports can be known only by the person who has the physical celibacy, by devotion and dedication towards his sports, towards his study. Everyone, every youth can bring name fame of our nation at the world level, at the international level. Our old students, scholars, sportsmen are preparing themselves by their full efforts, by their devotion personally, mentally, physically, socially, at every level, they are efforting well. It's no doubt, undoubtedly, they will bring their goodness, highness of their physical fitness, their health, as well the character of our nation. Swami Vivekananda, whose another name is character, a man of character, like Jesus Christ, we read in the Holy Bible. Jesus Christ is also known as the man of character. So, your Indian land is a representative of all holy religions of the holy scriptures, holy land, because of its actions. And Swamiji appealed to the worldly people by saying that my nation is known by character, not by colors. It is known by its culture, civilization, traditions, rituals. These are the greatnesses of this holy culture. And the same great philosophy of our present Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has expressed and broadcasted, even spreaded out the message of humanity through the path of Swami Vivekananda's teachings. Whenever any man will read the teachings of our Swami Vivekananda, definitely he will know the value of one man, one nation, one man army. By making independent India, we can bring a great change in the thoughts and ideas of the common people's mind. It can be possible only by doing yoga, pranayam, meditation. These are the traditional and most ancient therapies and part of games, physical exercise that can keep our youth healthy for a long time. And for the regeneration, reoperation, for bringing a good performance in his sports, if our youth will get up early in the morning between 2 to 5, then definitely they will bring a great performance in their sports as well. While doing their any kind of learning, they will also feel themselves greater, higher, finer, nicer. It can become possible by the common man of our nation. If we will adopt the path of Swami Vivekananda, then definitely our youth, young age people will know the true value of our motherland by becoming nationalistic, patriotistic. Our India can become stronger than before, higher than before in social, spiritual, national values. At the world level, our present Prime Minister has addressed. And now, if we will recollect the ideas and thoughts of our forefathers, free thinkers, messengers, those who came first on this land, then definitely we will re-emerge. It is the great message for our Indian scholars in this present time, in this modern time. If our every man is becoming advanced in using social media, then very commonly it can be known the value of our nation, how our nation has become the best user of the transactions. Likely that the maker, producer, creator of all these social media is India. So everyone, every Indian should proud on it. Dear friends, today our Indian scholars should not follow the path of copying, stealing and imitating others, but they should adopt imagination. Imagination is the best educational technology for improving all the skills, standards, manners, talents in the different streams of science, medical science, commerce, arts and engineering. So for creating them, for making them able in imagination, it is very necessary they should come close with the nature, and this nature will treat them. It is rightly said that nature nurtures them like a mother, nature treats them like a doctor, nature guides them like a supervisor. So nature plays multi-dimensional role. Dear friends, perhaps you have read a great lesson, psychology example of our social reformist Swami Vivekananda, who wrote Kali the Mother. This is the symbol of his purity of his thoughts, ideas and highness of his heart. Dear friends, everyone knows about this personality, but very few adopt him in their psychology and philosophy, because it is very hard to believe about this such personality. Today, words fall short in such personality, who devoted himself, who dedicated his whole life for recreation, for reformation of our nation, of our society and nation. Dear friends, यह कविता एक प्रशंसा गीत है, काली द मदर. That is a poem written by Swami Vivekananda himself, जहां कवि देवी काली की पूजा को महिमा मंडित करता है. वह उनका परम भक्त है और हर जगह उसकी उपस्थिति पाता है. वह उसे अपने चारों तरफ प्रकृति की हिंसा में देखता है और इच्छा करता है कि वह उसके सामने प्रकट हो. उनकी असीमित ऊर्जा उसमें उसका एक हिस्सा बनने की इच्छा उत्पन्न करती है. कवि काली को आतंक की देवी के रूप में देखता है. उसमें विनाश करने की भयानक शक्ति है. Very simple questions perhaps are raising in your mind when you are listening the words and thoughts of Swami Vivekananda. What does the poet compare the roaring wind to? The poet compares the roaring wind to goddess Kali, because nothing can block her path. Dear friends, what a great thoughts and ideology you are listening through the minds of Swami Vivekananda, who brought a great chance for our Indian youth. How is it possible for the sea to reach the sky? In its answer, he says, as goddess Kali performed her terrifying dance, it is possible for the sea to reach the sky. Next, he says, a thousand shadows, a thousand shades of death as Kali dances with joy in her frenzied dance of terror, one can hear the awful and terrifying cries with which spread death, dreadful sickness and sorrow. Name and describe two forces of nature that goddess Kali has been compared to. Goddess Kali has been compared to the dark goddess of terror, who brings destruction and to time which destroys demons and evildoers. What does he think? According to poet, who is the poet? Swami Vivekananda himself is poet here. To what kind of person will goddess Kali appear? According to the poet, goddess Kali will appear to the bold, and fearless human being who stand for peace and equality. What happens when goddess Kali performs her terrifying dance? What happens? Yes, when goddess Kali performs her terrifying dance, one hears the waves of the sea as if rising like a fearless tsunami to reach the cloudless and blackened sky. Next he asks, what happens when goddess Kali dances with joy? He answers that when goddess Kali dances with joy, one can hear the awful and terrifying cries of the thousands of tortured souls, forms of evil, who has caused horrible and unspeakable earth. Dear friends, perhaps you have heard the name of John Donne, who has written Death Be Not Proud. It is the short introduction of that poem. जॉन डन के लिए मृत्यु का कोई भय नहीं है। एक सच्चा ईसाई होने के नाते कवि मृत्यु के बाद की अवस्था में अंतिम पुनर्जीवन में विश्वास रखता है, जिसके परिणाम स्वरूप मृत्यु एक नींद, एक लंबी नींद के अलावा कुछ नहीं है। निसंदेह एक ऐसी नींद जिसमें से एक नई जागृति उत्पन्न होती है। यह कविता एक सोनेट है। इस सोनेट के ऑक्टेव में कवि मृत्यु से कहता है कि वह गर्व न करे क्योंकि वह शक्तिशाली और डरावनी नहीं है, न ही वह किसी को मार सकती है। मृत्यु नींद से कहीं अधिक सुखद है, क्योंकि यह हमारे शरीर को विश्राम देती है और हमारी आत्मा को मुक्त करती है। कविता के सेस्टेट में कवि कहता है कि मृत्यु एक गुलाम है, क्योंकि यह केवल उस समय आती है जब मरना हमारी नीति होती है। मृत्यु एक छोटी सी नींद के समान है, क्योंकि मृत्यु के बाद एक व्यक्ति का पुनर्जन्म होता है। ईसाई मान्यता है कि दुनिया के अंत में सभी मृत व्यक्ति अपनी कब्रों से बाहर आ जाएंगे और ईश्वर के समक्ष अंतिम निर्णय जानने के लिए उपस्थित होंगे। What type of sonnet is the poem Death We Not Proud? This is a simple question that is asked from our students in the examination. So answer is the poem is a Petrarchan sonnet, consists of the octave and the sestet. Next is, nor yet canst thou kill me. Why can't death kill a person? In its answer, death can't kill a person because it is like short sleep. For after death also one is reborn. Next he asked this question, why according to the poet is death not mighty and dreadful? He answers, according to the poet, death is not mighty and dreadful because it cannot kill anyone. It only gives rest to our bodies and release to our souls. Next he asks, where does death prevail? In answer of it he says, death prevails where there is an accident or sickness. Means he talks about the agencies of death. Death simply is nothing in itself. Death is just a terror, fear, horror. Next he says, what does the poet say in the octave of this sonnet? In the octave of the sonnet, the poet says that he is not afraid of death because it cannot kill anyone. It is much more pleasant than sleep, for it gives rest to our body and release to our soul. Why does the poet call death a slave? The poet calls death a slave because it can come only when we are fated to die or are consigned to death by our fellow human beings or fall victim to accident or sickness. Next we put the question, why has death no terror for the poet? In answer of it he says, death has no terror for the poet because he is a true Christian and believes in a final resurrection from the state of death. To him, death is no more than a sleep from which there is a waking. Dear friends, next he says, we wake eternally. What Christian belief the line relates to? In its answer he says, the line relates the Christian belief that at the time of the word, all the dead will rise from their graves and appear from God for the final judgment. What a fine depiction and portrayal of the poetic thoughts presented by the poet, really praiseworthy and admirable, and this can be kept by the readers in their mind and heard, especially those who are preparing themselves for appearing in net SLAT examination of English literature. They must go through these fundamentals and basics of English literature. Dear friends, who does not know the name of Swami Vivekananda? Everyone knows. Everyone knows the name of Swami Vivekananda. And who does not know Rabindranath Tagore, who wrote Heaven of Freedom? In this poem, he wrote numberless poems and got Nobel Prize. He was the Nobel Prize winner, first Nobel Prize winner of India, who wrote where there is mind fearless, Gitanjali, and here he explains Heaven of Freedom. इस कविता में रविंद्रनाथ टैगोर राष्ट्र की एक प्रतिभाशाली तस्वीर बनाने का प्रयास करते हैं। पहली और दूसरी पंक्ति में कवि ईश्वर से आग्रह करते हैं कि उसका देश किसी प्रकार के भय और दमन से मुक्त बने। वह चाहते हैं कि उसके देश में प्रत्येक व्यक्ति गर्व से सिर उठा के जीने हेतु समर्थ बने। वह एक ऐसे राष्ट्र का सपना देखते हैं जहां ज्ञान और शिक्षा स्वतंत्र रूप से उपलब्ध हो। यह है कि शिक्षा केवल उच्च वर्ग तक सीमित न हो, अपितु प्रत्येक व्यक्ति ज्ञान प्राप्त करने हेतु स्वतंत्र हो। दिस इज द हेवन ऑफ फ्रीडम। वहां जाति और लिंग के आधार पर कोई भेदभाव न हो। कवि एक ऐसे संसार की कामना करते हैं जो जाति, वंश, धर्म, रंग अथवा अंधविश्वास पर आधारित पूर्वाग्रहों द्वारा बंटा हुआ नहीं हो। पूर्वाग्रह और अंधविश्वास लोगों और उनकी एकता को विभाजित न करें। वह एक ऐसा राष्ट्र चाहते हैं जहां के लोग सत्यवादी हों और जहां सत्य उनके दिलों की गहराइयों से, जहां सत्य उनके दिलों की गहराई से शब्दों के रूप में निकले। छठी पंक्ति कवि की इस कामना को व्यक्त करती है। उसे ऐसा देश चाहिए जहां लोग संपूर्णता प्राप्त करने के लिए पूर्वाग्रहों और पुरानी परंपराओं को छोड़कर अथक प्रयास करें। वह नहीं चाहते कि तर्क संगत सोच रूपी झरना पुराने रीति रिवाजों और परंपराओं के रेगिस्तान में खो न जाए। डियर फ्रेंड्स, बहुत ही फाइन डिपिक्शन एंड पोर्ट्रेल which was depicted by Rabindranath Tagore. Further, he is asked what are some of the qualities that the land of freedom should have according to Tagore. Next he answers, according to Tagore, that land of freedom should have knowledge and education. To each and all, the people should be fearless, truthful, broad-minded, and confident. Dear friends, next he says, he put the question, how does Tagore speak the sectarianism and communism in the poem? While answering, he says, the poet wishes for a world which is not fragmented by prejudices based on caste, creed, color, religion, or superstitions. Prejudices and superstitions should not divide the people and break their unity. How does Tagore refer to the struggle for perfection and rationality? In answer of it, he says, Tagore yearns for a country where people should strive without getting tired to reach perfection, leaving behind prejudices and old traditions. He wants the power of reason to dominate the mind of his countrymen. Further, he asks the question, comment construction of the last line of the poem. In the last line of the poem, he says, My country awake is the climax of Tagore's prayer. The line leaves the hope that the country will see reason and thereby get intellectual and spiritual freedom. How does the poem achieve meaning in the context of the freedom struggle? In its answer, he says, the poem is marvelous for its patriotic warmth, which motivates the countrymen to make India free from intellectual and spiritual slavery. In this way, it achieves meaning in the context of freedom struggle. Further, he put the question, what message does the poet want to give through this poem? He says in the answer, through this poem the poet wants to give a message that only that society can lead to progress, which is free from a social evil. A society which is free from social evils. What does the poet plans to Almighty in the opening lines of the poem? In its answer, he says the poet pledges to Almighty that his country should be free from any fear or oppression or forced compulsion. Next question, let my country awake. That does the poet mean here? What does the poet mean here? Let my country awake. In its answer, he says, here the poet means that he prayed to Almighty not just for territorial independence for his country, but also for its intellectual and spiritual freedom. Dear friends, as you have studied, these are the general topics of compulsory English, general English, that are usually asked from the collegiates, those who are studying in the different colleges and universities, India and abroad. They must follow these basics and fundamentals of language, literature and grammar. That will make them able to bring good marks. May God bless us. Thank you all of you. Dhanyavad.